Alright, this is gonna go quick. I started everything and then my battery ran out. So anyway, here's the our whatchamacallit, microwave rice. Okay, 8 minutes. This isn't basmati rice, this is just regular rice. And it's 8 minutes. 8 minutes in the thingy, in the microwave. Okay, I'm gonna add this to the onions that I chopped up small, the parsley, and a couple eggs. Alright, for 1.5 pounds of meat, should probably use 1.5 eggs, but I'm not going to take them apart, so I just put them, both of them in there, 1.5. Alright, add the rice. Okay. I'm going to add the beef, 1.5 pounds. I'm not using the beef and pork bullshit, that's garbage. It doesn't give you enough flavor. Okay, here's the garlic. The spices are the usual suspects. Garlic, pepper, and salt. That's it. You don't want anything else in there. Alright, and salt. I put a little bit of salt in the whatchamacallit, in the rice. Okay, if you don't like my hands, turn your head now. But I don't give a shit. Alright, look. The onions, you gotta chop the onions small this time. It's like when you make meatloaf. If you chop the onions too big, then when you cut the meatloaf, it breaks. It won't stay together. If you chop the onions real small, the meatloaf will stay together. You won't have any problem with it breaking apart. Alright, this is it. Boom. Wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so we got 8-minute rice in the microwave. I used regular sticky rice. You don't double the water. If you use 1 cup of rice, you use 1 3/4 cups of water. Alright, there you go. That looks good. Okay. Alright, now I have some cabbage that I had left over from last time. I stuck it in the freezer. Okay, so these are the leaves from last time. Alright, now look, if you used a whole leaf like this, the thing would be huge. So forget it. Take out the vein here and cut it in half. Okay, then you're gonna grab 1 scoop of beef right there, stick it in there, roll it up. That's it. Get the sides rolled up in there too. Alright, and we're gonna put it in this pan. I don't cook them on the stove. You know, some people boil them on the stove. I don't do that. That's too much hassle. I like to put them in the oven. That way you can completely forget about them. You just, you know, you walk away. Alright, now wait, I got something to show you here. This is a trick. Look at this. Here's a head of cabbage that I bought. Okay, first of all, when you go to make stuffed cabbage, what you do is you get a pot that's big enough for the cabbage head to fit in. You fill it up with water and then you boil the water. Alright, now then you take your cabbage, you stick a knife in it. Then you dip it into the boiling water, leave it in there for 2-3 minutes and the leaves peel off. But here's a trick. This cabbage here, when I bought it, I brought it home and I put it in the freezer. Now I left it in the freezer for about 3 days. Then I took it out and put it in the refrigerator for a couple more days. And look at this, the leaves just come right off. This was not boiled. this is the way to go. If you know you're making stuffed cabbage, this is the way to do it. You don't have to boil the leaves at all. But you do have to freeze the head solid, so you have to keep it in there for at least, well, I kept it in there for 3 days. So 3 days was just perfect. I mean, look at this, man. These leaves are perfect. And there was no hassle of, you know, boiling them and then peeling them. I mean, you just put it in there and forget about it. 3 days later, you take it out, put it in the refrigerator, let it thaw, and you're good to go. All right, let's keep going here. These leaves here are smaller, so I'm gonna not cut them in half. I'm just gonna use it just like it is. Let me use up the ones here that I have frozen. Alright, what I'm doing is I'm putting them into a Dutch oven. There. I'm putting them into this pot here. When we're done, we'll put the you know, the tomato sauce on them and just put them in the oven and forget about them. This is another fairly easy thing. You know, if you do it the right way, it's not that hard at all. Like I say, if you put the cabbage in the freezer, man, it saves you a long process. When you're boiling the leaves, it's a real pain in the ass. You know, for every leaf you take off, you have to leave the thing sit in there for a couple minutes. It's just a real pain. It's best just to put them in the freezer. Put the whole thing in the freezer. Leave it in there 3 days. Take it out for 2 days. Leave it in your refrigerator. And you're good to go. Listen, let me give you a little hint, a little clue on your knives. Your knives are really important when you're cooking. You know, your knives are like a wrench for a mechanic. You have to have sharp knives. If you're struggling with a knife, you're going to end up hurting yourself because you'll get cut. You're going to end up cutting yourself, and it ain't good. Buy some good knives. And then, in order to keep them sharp, when you're using the knife, don't put it into the sink with all the other dishes when you go to wash it. Don't do that. Wash it separate. Dry it and put it away. It's important to dry it because the edge is very thin. On a good sharp knife, the edge is thin. So if the water can damage the edge of the knife, you know what I mean? It can cause it to lose strength. So wash the knife separate, dry it, and you're good to go. That knife, you'll have it for a long time. You gotta have sharp knives. When I make the video of the boneless chicken, taking the bones out of the chicken, you'll see what I mean when I say you gotta have a sharp knife. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, here we go. This is the last one. Alright. And here we ended up with 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 of them. 13. Alright, now for the sauce. You gotta bake them in sauce. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna add a can of tomatoes. This is just regular Italian tomatoes, okay? It could be any kind of tomatoes, it doesn't matter. Here's an old tomato I had in the refrigerator. I'm just going to chop that up. Okay, also when you're cutting stuff, don't scrape the knife on the cutting board. If you scrape the knife on the cutting board, you're going to dull the edge. If you do scrape the knife, always put the knife at an angle if you do scrape stuff. Don't ever scrape it head on, you're going to dull the edge of it. So if you put it on an angle, it's okay to scrape. But if you're scraping it, you know, straight up and down, forget it, man. You're going to screw the knife up. Alright, here we go. This is, what is this? V8 juice. Okay, that's it. Now it goes in the oven. That's the end. Say bye-bye.